Guys, welcome to AA Podcast into football coaching and life experiences. This is episode 2 today, and I'm joined by Darren. Darren, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Good. No worries. Today's topic of conversation between me and Darren will be coaching in the community. So, Darren, first of all, how's isolation? How's lockdown treating you?
Oh, without football, horrible. It's nice, get to rest, but it's not the same going out every week and coaching. It's
It's
horrible.
difficult as a coach, isn't it? Because really, we're stuck at home. There's stuff we can get on with, such as these podcasts and planning coaching, but other than that, there's not really much that we can do.
No, I think it's the best time to reflect on your past coaching experiences. Like I have been, just questioning yourself on how you're going to move forward. What can you change? What can you do better? I think it's a great time for
Yeah, man.
people that don't have time to reflect to actually start reflecting and start trying to improve themselves.
Yeah, I hear that. So what sort of reflection have you gone through? Have you gone through any at the moment?
Yeah, I've done a lot of reflections. I've been reading a lot, like biographies of great managers. Been reading into how to coach different teams, different setups through the Google Scholar, looking at different research papers on subjects, and just looking at myself. So looking over my old coaching resources, my session plans, my evaluations. I'm thinking, where did I go wrong? Even if the session was good, what can I improve on? Did I have the effect on the players that I wanted to have? Did we get any success out of it? So sitting back and looking at where I could improve, what can I do better? That's been the main topic of my reflection.
That's good, man. As I said before, today's topic is coaching in our community. I know you're very passionate about the coach's influence on kids and their performance growing up. But first of all, if you'd like to tell everyone, what is your community? Where do you coach? What's your environment like? Your players, are they of high standard? Are they of community standard? Where are you working?
I currently work at two places, or start in a second. But the first major one is I work in North London for an academy,
Okay,
ProFA. They're it's a privately owned academy. The players I have under seven this season, obviously due to circumstances, hope I'll be moving under eights with them. They are of a
yeah,
good quality, but it's a very mixed ability group. So it's
okay,
a lot. Some of them, it's their first time in football. Some of them have been playing for a few years prior. So
yeah,
players have older siblings in football, so it's a hard one to work
okay.
out. But because it's the
So
start,
a real mix then.
a real mixture.
Yeah, just to let you guys know, I actually coach at the same age group as Darren, and I work at a different privately owned football club called TFA United. So we work in similar communities, similar environments. Um, so what's the environment like? You say you work in North London. I work just outside of North London. Um,
The,
Players, when they come to us at the private academies, they're quite, we'll say, well off. Uh, but what's the environment like for you?
I think the environment's quite nice compared to where I grew up. The environment is quite chilled. Being in
Okay, yeah,
North London, it's it's really weird because a lot of parents, some of the parents are well off. It's a very supporting environment at this academy. It's, how do I put this?
okay, that's good.
Quite individualized, where coaches, they have their team and what they do is down to them. So
Okay. So
it's the environment.
everyone's sort of allowed to express their own sort of personality within their group as
Yeah,
such. There's not guidelines into you must be able to coach this, you must be able to coach this. It's very much individual when allowing the coach to express themselves.
yeah. I think it's the governor's done really well there, where he's giving you the freedom of, this is your team, create your environment. You work with some coaches in your year group, so I work with a couple of coaches in under sevens. We work together for the first 30 minutes or so, then we split our teams apart and do our own stuff. So it's
Okay.
more as creating that environment for that year group and then splitting your teams across, which is quite good.
What would you say? I've got a lot of coaches messaging me privately on my social media about they haven't got time to plan, or they don't feel confident enough to start planning full sessions for their team yet, and they actually like a main coach to send them in session plans to be able to perform that week. What would you say to those coaches that maybe aren't as confident or don't have the time to try and plan their own session, or if they're given the sort of leeway to go and perform what they want, what would you say to those coaches?
I would say express yourself as a coach. eh, Have faith in what you're doing because you're here for a reason. And but if you're coaching at a really young age group, it's a lesson for them and it's also a lesson for you. When I first started coaching, I was doing an under sevens age group myself, and I had this one idea of how sessions should be put in. I had a head coach at my old academy, but he let me take
Yeah,
my team across, and he said, "You do you, because I have faith in what you do." And that's the biggest thing is having faith in yourself. If you can't design session plans or you don't have time to design session plans, speak to like a mentor, a head coach, and say, I don't have the time. Could you send something over? And then if they send it over, coach in your own style. Try and add adjustments through so it's not their session plan. You've added your own little mix to it because
definitely, man.
you can't carbon copy another coach because you're not that coach. You have a different idea of football. So it's just about giving it a try. And some people who ain't confident in their sessions, the only way to get more confidence is putting it on because there's no such thing as you're starting out. There's no such thing as a bad session because you're starting out as a coach. Everyone needs to have that understanding that we're not machines. We're not going to put on
Def-
academy award winning coaching sessions.
Definitely, man. I coach in a community where we have a lot of new coaches. Luckily enough, myself and Darren actually go to university and study football coaching and management. We have coaches come in for a trial session to work alongside myself and other coaches, and sometimes I throw them straight in the deep end. Go and put on a session for those 10 kids and see how they perform, and they're a bit starstruck. But it's like, go and express yourself. I'm giving you the leeway to go and do it. And I think that's really how we're going to sort of educate coaches, especially in communities where they're just starting out as a coach, to go on forwards. Now, moving away from the coach specifically at the moment, we're going to go into the players' mindsets and how the coach can actually influence that. But first of all, the players' mindset. So, what different types of psychological things do you see in a player at a young age in your community, Darren?
At a young age in the community, it's quite varied across. I've seen some players that are very, very focused, very motivated. Then I've seen some players that have just come in to have fun and enjoy themselves. So I've there was one player that I had that had no confidence whatsoever, and it looked like he didn't want to play. And then it's as a coach, is that my fault? What have I done? What can I do to improve this situation for him? So I had a
Yeah.
chat with said player, and it's because he felt all the other players were better than him. Now, as a coach, what do I do then? Is that's a confidence issue. Can I help alleviate that confidence and improve it, or does he have to do it himself? So it's then
Do you know what? I've got a similar situation at my club. We have a under six who is playing currently in the fourth team at under sevens. However, realistically speaking, he could be in the first team at under sevens. He trains at development centres, but his confidence when we come to training, we split the groups up, and we like to try and train him with his standard because at the moment he's not quite playing at his standard. He should be higher, but because he's a year below, he doesn't feel he has the confidence to then go and play up a year and play at the top level in that year. So what do we do then? Because we've spoken, or I've spoken to parents to say, look, he's good enough to come play in this top team, or at least train in this top team. However, as a kid, he doesn't want to. He's not striving for the top. He'd rather stay in that second group and be the best in that group, knowing he's a year younger. So is that a confidence issue to play in that top group, or is that ego boosting because he knows that if he comes in that top group, he's going to be challenged a lot more to the point where he might not be the best player in that group.
I think it's about setting drive because I had one player this season that he's his confidence was really down, and his mum said she was just bringing him for just to exercise every week. And then I spoke to him, and I personally believe he could be in the first team. He's an amazing
Okay,
player up front, and I spoke to him, and it's about giving them that freedom to play and that confidence to play because I think the biggest importance is as a coach setting that environment where it doesn't matter what the player does, they're at a really young age, they're gonna make mistakes, they're gonna do stuff that you're thinking, you shouldn't have done that. But it's a learning curve for them and it's how we support them. So every before every game I tell my team, doesn't matter what you do, have fun because I will
definitely, man.
never shout at my players for doing something that I go, oh, we should have done something different. If I think it was wrong, that a wrong pass, but that's as a coach, I have that experience to spot that was not the right pass. But to them, it was the right pass. So how do you go about that? At least they've attempted to pass in my eyes. That's the way I look at it. They've attempted to pass. They've saw something. They've attempted to act. To me, that's brilliant, especially at a young age because it's
De-
given them that freedom to play. Now they will learn themselves what pass was right, what pass was wrong, but they've got the confidence to make that pass. So I've built the confidence within a player in the training sessions. Just keep going, doing well. Can you try this? Can you try that? And then it's
Definitely, man.
when they pull it off, well done, you're doing a lot better. But then it's keeping them motivated for a goal. What do you want to be is the biggest question I ask players. What do you want to achieve this year?
Okay,
And
okay.
it could
Yeah,
be
so
the most
go
smallest
on.
thing. Like some players, I want to score goals. Great mentality. I know
Hmm.
one of my players. He says he wants to dribble past everyone. Great mentality. Because our under sevens, it's not about winning medals, trophies, accolades.
No,
The small goals are the
definitely
most
not.
important.
Cool, man. No, you mentioned there that obviously the way you coach, your sort of style is you don't shout at the kids at all. You're very encouraging, very sort of that person they look up to for encouragement and advice.
Yeah,
I work quite closely with a coach where a parent wants him to be more forceful in his instruction to his child. So parents come up to the coach and's gone, look, I don't think he's responding well in that encouraging manner. Could you be a bit more forceful when giving instruction? And the coach who I'm very close with, I'm not going to say his name, has basically just said, look, it's not the way I coach. It's not the way that the kids should be treated. I understand that he might respond better in that way. However, in front of a group, does the coach really want to go and force himself in instruction? Is that a method that you believe in? Is that a method you think has value in today's coaching?
no, not in today's coaching. Because the more you force someone to do something, the more they're not going to do it. It's I had last year I had a player that was quite misbehaving, and I sat him down,
Okay.
and then there was a way that his dad said just have a go at him, shout at him, and he'll do. It. And I was like, as a, when I was young myself, I was quite of a child that I was quite a misbehaving child. And when a person shouts at me, being my football coach shouted at me once, I just walked off and was like, I don't want to play. But it's how do you get through to
Oh,
them?
okay.
So I sat down with this kid and I said, why do you keep misbehaving? And you get the usual answers, I don't know. Oh, I'm bored. I don't want to be here. If someone's misbehaving in an area they love, as in football, there's something going on in my eyes. Whether they're upset about something or could be confidence and they're misbehaving because it elevates that fear of am I good? Am I playing well? So I sat down and I said, how about we do a reward system? I said, if you behave
Okay.
and listen to everything I do today, I will make you captain next week. Or you could take a free kick next week. Small gains, because it doesn't matter whether he takes a free kick or misses or whether he's captain. As I said, at this age, it's not about the victory, so it's not important that our best striker takes a free kick every time. It's more about what
Okay.
does it do for them. So I started talking to him, and every day I was talking to him, every coaching session, and then I'd get him to stand next to me while the coaching session was going on, and I would ask him stuff about the football game just to distract him from messing about. Is could you have done something here? Could you have been a leader? In mischief, there's always potential in my eyes. If a player's messing about, there's always potential for that player to be greater than what he's showing.
Playing devil, playing devil's advocate here. Would some people would say that by rewarding players with things such as captaincy or taking a free kick or taking a penalty, would that be seen as manipulating a player's psychological view on the game?
It could be, but it's having that. If you put in 110%, you're going to get rewards out of it. Because I think the biggest
Okay.
problem we face in general is some people. It's like, oh, he's the best. He should already be doing this. It doesn't matter
Okay.
if you're the best player on the team. In in the environment I create, it doesn't matter about ability. It matters about work ethic. Because the more you work harder, it shows. I'd rather have players with low ability but amazing work rate because it shows that they are trying their hardest, and I reward them for that. And
Definitely. No, I hear that.
I remember there was one time I was taking a team for a training session, and you could see there was this one kid, phenomenal ability, and every
Hmm.
corner he would take, every free kick he would take, every penalty he would take. And then I went to watch him on a match day, and he's their main striker. Why is he taking every free kick? Why is he taking every corner? And
Yeah.
he even went to take the goal kick, and I was like, other players will not learn unless they've been given that opportunity. And then
Do you
it
know what?
go on.
Go on. No, what I was going to say is that sort of like unequal balance in a team, I see a lot, especially at the young age groups, where there's difference. There's a big difference in abilities throughout the whole team. Let's say they have 8 players.
Mm,
There's amazing player, there's average players, and there's some that aren't just quite up to standard just yet. But I see coaches and coaching behaviours that represent that they're playing in a World Cup final, and one kid's playing 2 minutes of the game and one kid's playing the whole 40, and it's just the psychological impact on those players just because of the differences in the way they're being treated. I can only imagine be unbelievable, really.
I think it's because my rotation system is very weird, as you'd say. I have the one player that plays most of the game. It's because I'm working on a he's our striker, and
Okay.
there's reasoning behind this. Is when I took over the group, and as we learn as coaches when we're growing up, we get told every player should play in every position to learn, which I do
Yeah.
agree to an extent. Now, if I have
Okay, I'm interested. I'm interested.
yeah, if I have a player which I did have currently in this team, that's magnificent at tackling people, but
Yeah.
dribbling forward, very behind ability wise, no confidence. Why am I going to stick him into a position which relies on a lot of dribbling? Because I'll be playing to his weaknesses. He will lose the ball a lot of times, and it would impact his confidence. And he wouldn't like the game because we were in quite a tough league at the start for the ability we had of the season, and it's putting them players in their position where they won't play well. And I know everyone says, but it's a learning curve. It's not about winning. I didn't care whether we won or not, but is that player playing well? Is he having fun? So I would start him in defence every game, and then at training I would be working on his dribbling. For the idea is, I would then move him to like the midfield where he still can defend, which he loved doing, and then he could start going forward and enjoying the dribbling because he's now been
Do you know
learning
what?
how to dribble.
I think you're onto something there because what what my plan of action when it comes to that is players that want to enjoy and can play in any position. I would give them the freedom to play in any position. What I do and what I encourage other coaches at the club I work at to do is with those players that are, let's say, predominantly seen as a one position player. Let's say he has attributes and skills for that one position. I would give a primary and a secondary. So the primary would be my choice and the secondary would be their choice. Primary is my choice. They will play, I'd say, between 50 to 75% of time in their primary position.
Yeah.
Learning the skills, the fundamentals, the tactical side of that position. And then the other sort of 40 to 25% will then be in their secondary position, the position that they enjoy, the position where they might pick up different skills, different learning curves, which it sort of gives them sort of like an all-round basis of that this is your primary position, you show good skill, good attributes to play in this position, you like playing in this position, however, we want you to learn and enjoy yourself elsewhere on the pitch. We don't just want you to sit on the halfway line when we're attacking. We want you to sometimes go in midfield, still defend when we need to, but when we attack, can you go and join in instead of just pinpointing players to different positions? What do you think of that?
I totally agree because I've started. I changed the way. I had a parent come up to me. I can't obviously mention names, and
No,
his son. It was his first year of football, so footballing year was just under a year, and he came in and
Okay.
he struggled dribbling, and but he was brilliant at attacking. Brilliant at he was always in a position where the ball would come to him.
Yeah, he knew where to be, but when you give it to him,
that's where it struggled.
dear
So
Lord.
then I worked on
Okay.
his dribbling. His dad, very committed parents, took him to a lot of training sessions, and his progress was amazing, phenomenal. One of their outstanding players of this year. So then I've said to him, I said, okay, what can I do as a coach to benefit him? I can't play him up front yet because he's not got that confidence in front of goal to shoot. It's a different scoring in training to scoring in a match is totally different because you're scoring with your
100%
mates.
different.
So it's how do I create
100%.
that? So what I've done is I said, if you're our defender and you get the ball, have fun, go forward, dribble forward. And then he asked me a question because this player he always asks questions. It's quite lovely. He said, but there'll be no one at the back. So I got the group together, the team, and we started working on if the defender gets the ball, he's going to dribble out wide, and the position he dribbles in. So let's say he was centre back, he's dribbling to the left wing. Then that left winger would then come back and drop back and act as a centre back. So it's a rotation. So then
Okay.
it gave the defender confidence to go forward. And he's been taking that chances and he's been absolutely phenomenal. It's boosted his confidence. He's taken 2-3 players on at once. Finishing product still needs to be worked on. But because he's showing me that in the game, so I've put him in an environment. You're our defender, so he's happy to be there. And then it's, do you want to go forward? Have some fun. So he knows even if he messes up, there's someone behind him. And then he could get the ball back. So now I said to him, okay, because the season got cut short, it was a bit hard, but I started transitioning him to a winger, into one of my midfielders.
Okay. Like a wide midfielder.
Yeah, into a wide mid, because it's five side, as you know, you've got your defenders, your big wingers, I call them, and then your strikers. So I put him out wide, and I said, you're still going to have the same defensive commands to do. You're still going to come back and defend and get the ball, but now you have a bit more freedom going forward. If you get the ball, run forward, have fun. Don't. And I've told him, doesn't matter whether you lose the ball 1,800 times. As long as you beat one player once in that game, I'm going to be happy. Because it's the small victory for him. So it's giving him that, okay, I need to beat a player, but it doesn't matter how long it takes to beat that player. And he's beating that too, as I say, 2-3 players at once. But I still give him that, I just want you to beat one.
Do you know what? I think that
it's phenomenal.
That freedom that you give the player to sort of express themselves, I think that will sort of impact them in all four corners of the FA model. Yeah. Like especially psychologically, if you psychologically say to a player, go have fun. When you get the ball, express yourself, enjoy yourself, go forward. I think then that's going to impact all the other sort of four corners. So socially, they're going to be happier. They're going to enjoy the game more. Technically, tactically, they they're not instructed to do anything. They're not instructed to play that pass down the line. They're not instructed to only dribble with the left foot. They're going to do whatever they want to do. But key thing is that psychologically, players, coaches, the impact that coaches have on that. I came across a team where a goal kick. So, as some of you know, hopefully most of you know, that when you're playing at under sevens, you have to retreat. So one team would retreat, and there's no pass back rule in under sevens. I come across one team who would pass the ball 1 yard to the defender and pass it straight back to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper would then just pick it up. He shot every time. The goalkeeper was the highest scoring player on the pitch in the game. What would you do, and this is encouraged by coaches in our community, like, what would you do? Because that's giving the kids no freedom. It's involved two players and they're scoring
That's
15 goals. But he's winning.
to
The
me.
team's winning. So what would you say to that?
See, I don't like that because I get it's training the goalkeeper and he's scoring goals from goal. Then stick him out as a striker because
Yeah.
your goalkeeper, you want him to have as much as it's you want teams to be able to shoot against your goalkeeper. And I
Mm,
know it's at this age, and I know like everyone's got well. If the goalkeeper doesn't have any shots against him, it means we're doing really well. It's a disservice to your goalkeeper because if there's no shots going against him, why have him in there?
definitely.
And
It
it,
What
and then with
happens is
that
it change.
shooting, I think the biggest issue with the shooting from the goal is you've what are you working on with your players? They're just standing there. They're gonna get cold. They're gonna be like, oh, okay, goalkeeper's shooting again. Why are they there? And it will start impacting them psychologically, thinking, am I useful to this team? Do I
Definitely,
add any value? So yeah, not a big
definitely. Because
fan of that.
I think it changes the impact of everyone on the pitch, not just the goalkeeper. We came up against it, and I'm telling all five of my players to stand on the goal line, and it doesn't do the game any justice. It doesn't do the players any justice. No one's enjoying themselves apart from the goalie who's scoring 15 goals a game. However, we move on. I know you've got some strong opinions about this next sort of chapter topic. Um, Development centres. I've got I've got five players in development centres in my team. Now, some react psychologically in a good way. They see it as a learning experience. They see it as extra training. They come back. They show me what they've learnt, but they also take what they've learnt from me to their development centres, which is brilliant. And I've got some that believe that they are above and beyond, and they go into development centres and they're still above and beyond. They get a little bit too confident, and that might impact them in the future. What's your sort of view on development centres and how it impacts the players psychologically?
I think it impacts the parents, and I know it's this big.
Hundred
I
percent, hundred
realised
percent.
this when I started coaching. This whole academy development centre of playing for your Chelseas, your Tottenhams, your Arsenals, the dream of every kid. But then at this really young age, it could be the make or break of them. And I know everyone goes, oh, but they're young, they're going to learn. It's not the make or break of them talent wise, it's the make or break of them psychologically. Because
Definitely.
parents have a major impact on players' psychological confidence. And I know this sounds really silly. I said to my team this year, and they was like, oh, academies, scouting. I said, none of yous need to worry about any academy, any scouting, because my
Mm.
personal advice, don't worry about it. Don't think, don't aim, don't look for it, because you start adding value to the player as soon as they're in a development centre. Player X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
they play for Chelsea, but player C doesn't. But now you've just made player C look inferior. He's going to get that.
Definitely.
Kids can feel the environment, and parents add so much onto it. I remember there was this one player. He plays for Chelsea, and but every time he come
Okay.
on, he liked to remind everyone he played for Chelsea. I was like,
Yeah.
why would you? And I asked him, I said, why would you do that? He goes, because I play for Chelsea. I'm the best. And I said, oh, so it's that he's now got a bit too arrogant. I understand that people need arrogance in football. You need to believe in yourself. Believe you are the best in what you do. However,
Oh, 100%.
there's that arrogance
100%.
that
There's a limit though.
there's that fine line, and I think it's down to a coach to put that fine line in for the players. Yes, be arrogant
Do
in
you
what
know
you do,
what?
but don't affect your other
I
teammates.
I don't think it helps at the age that these players go into the development centres or extra training at these clubs, etc. I think that they're young, they're very ego driven at this age, especially if they're talented.
Oh yeah,
Um, I remember I was the same when I was young. It's I'm very fortunate that I've spoken with a couple of parents whose kids are at the stage where they are good enough to be in these development centres. They're at the same ability as other players in the team. However, they're just not getting chosen yet because they haven't got that, let's say, that swagger on a football pitch
yeah.
to let everyone know they are the best player. They do what is right for the team. They make the right decisions and they make others look good.
Uh,
So, what would you say to those players? I tell them all the time, look, take your time. If you ever get picked up, or I tell the parents, not the players, but if you ever get picked up, it's better to get picked up in a couple of years when you've matured psychologically. You're not going to be as impacted when you go into these academies, because the last thing we want is we don't want our good level-headed players going in, getting given brand new kit, getting given brand new boots, and just have their ego boosted, which just changes the outlook of the player.
yeah, I think it's also, as I was saying, at this age, massive, massive importance of the parents themselves as well. Is I knew there was this kid currently this year, amazing. This kid is absolutely amazing, and I spoke at the start. I got told goes to the development centre. So when he first come in and I took over, because the coach weren't in, so I took his session, combined them with mine.
Okay.
Um, and it was that expectation of he come in, he had the swagger about him. Every time we played, you think it was a touch of gold. You would look the way he
Mm.
would control the ball. But then my main focus is not what he was doing on the pitch with his feet, is what he was doing on the pitch with his mouth and his head. How was he interacting between
Okay.
different players? And I say it
Okay.
was
Yeah.
the same group with the Chelsea player, and there was a massive difference. And the
Mm.
Chelsea player was like, "No, I know what I'm doing. I've done this at Chelsea." But this kid who plays for Chelsea as well, he's very silent. He's very
Okay.
he's got the confidence. If you see him on the ball, massive confidence for what he does, but he doesn't let players know that he plays for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Like on the pitch, he's in the here and now. He's at Pro FA. That's all that matters to him. And then I went to
Do you know
speak
what?
to his mum about it, and you could see the difference. And I got a bit upset because I thought kid's very level-headed, bright future.
Yeah.
But then the mum questioned me as a coach, and
Okay.
it's it's that expectation. And I don't know whether you've had it, is because we work in private academies, coaches that work in development centres are put on the greatest pedestals that we've on the earth. They're our Chelsea Academy coach. They are the know-it-alls, the be-all and end-alls, and they're amazing coaches. They got where
Yeah.
they got. They deserve to be where they got. But then I've had it personally where you then get compared and looked inferior as a coach because you are not working for these development centres.
Do you know what? I've experienced similar events before, and I think it's we're going to move on to a minute about parent behaviours and the impact that has on the players psychologically. But
Mm.
I think, especially with parents thinking that every coach is on the same standard or every coach is at the same coaching level, coaching qualification, um, sometimes I know for myself especially, I work alongside many coaches who are across level 1, level 2, some are on the UEFA B course, and I'd put them higher than some UEFA B coaches I've seen.
Mm.
So I don't think level or where the coach is coaching should ever be an impact. However, I understand that parents are going to see it that way. Parents are going to see the badge, the charisma of the coach, and the outlook on what the coach is giving their child. And I think some parents forget where the kids come from. Like I've got a team in under eights who are average for a community football team. We're in roughly the middle division in our county, in our area, and we started off in a very, very low league, not being able to kick a football the right direction, everyone chasing the ball, and now we've been pushed up to the fourth division out of
Mm.
10 from about seventh, and it's really I'm not blowing smoke up my own behind, but it's knowing that where they've come from. Now, if you bring me the the world's best next kid and he becomes the second best in the world, then yes, you can say you've done a dishearten to my kid. However, if you bring your child along at the age of under 6, under 7, can't really kick a football, can't really stay in a formation or a structure, struggling to grasp the idea of football, and then a year and a half later, they come, they're playing, they're structured, technically there's an improvement, then you've got to remember that the coach that's done that has given you the opportunity to go on to these development centres.
Oh, I think yeah, that's massive. I like to remind my parents of where we've come from. I think it's the biggest
Definitely.
life lesson they could have because they get caught in a moment, and it happened with my team this season. Is we were in the third division. Um, we were doing okay. We lost two games, but we won everything else. And you look at that going, oh, that's amazing. But then it's at the start, it doesn't. Yeah, we had the quality we should to win games, but that's not what I was focusing on. Our team didn't play as a team. It was very
Okay.
one man army. So I looked at to the parents and
Hmm.
said, "Don't judge me on my results. Judge me on how the team plays." Because
Do you know what? I'm going to preach that quickly because being caught up in the moment, I think that's a parent behaviour in which impacts the kids the worst. I think caught up in the moment, as some of you may know, before Christmas is you're in one league, and after Christmas you may move up or down leagues depending on your results in the first half of the season. First half of the season, my under eights were winning 17-0,
mm,
21-2, and weren't learning a thing. Moved up a couple of divisions. Second half of the season, 4-3 loss, losing 3-2, 5-4 win, and we lost 4-3 the other day before the isolation lockdown, and it was the best these boys have ever played in their life. The other team scored 3 goals from halfway, which went in the top corner, and it's after that game. I'm not saying that the parents didn't do this, but parents need to be congratulating. Well done, excellent. That's the best you've ever played.
yeah, I had a similar story
If
because as I was saying, the second half after Christmas, as you know, when I told you we've moved up, um,
yeah,
we were losing every game at the
okay.
start, and parents asked me
What
why.
the second half of the season?
Yeah, the second half of the season.
Same. Yeah.
Parents they asked why. They wanted answers. As you do, we've gone from winning every game to losing every game.
Oh,
Now
100%.
parents look at that as, and it's really, as a coach, you're really on the edge of a knife there. Is it your fault? Is it the player's fault? What's going? And I've
Definitely.
said to
It's
my
that reflection.
parents, it's because they started getting a bit upset with certain decisions players were making, and for me personally, never blame our players. If you're going to blame anyone, you blame me as a coach. As silly as it may
Okay.
sound, and the person that owns the academy, he's a coach as well. I told him about this, and he said, "Oh, well, it's hard." I said, "No, you blame me as a coach because it's my job to now develop them." After the first loss, we lost by a very big margin. I said to myself,
Okay.
"We've moved up. It's a different style, different players, different set of players, different teams. How are we going to play against them?" So then I set into not about the winning of the game, it's how's the team going to play. So I started adding the overlaps, more passing, getting
Okay.
them around, having fun. Some players lost their confidence because of that massive loss, and it's now how do I build them up? So I think it's a great challenge for a coach, very learning curve wise, losing by a margin. How do you come back? How do you continue coaching? Because as silly it may sound, you may have lost a bit of faith from the parents because
Yeah.
to them it's
I,
all about
I hear
winning.
that.
To us, it's about development.
Oh, at the moment, I think they've got to go hand in hand. I think to have a successful team, I'm not by all means putting winning above development. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying that at some stage you are going to have to win
Oh yeah, it's
to be able to psychologically just
developing
just
to
just
win.
just to develop
Yeah, developing to
you.
win.
I I believe you have to win to be able to develop at some stage. I'm not saying you have to win
Mm.
17-0, but I'm saying that winning boosts everyone and gives them a reason to then further develop.
Oh yeah, obviously, and it's like I said to someone, I'd rather win 1-0 and play amazing football
Oh,
than win
definitely.
17-0
So,
playing
we don't
horrible
learn
football.
anything.
And that's why
100%.
the second season we started playing a lot better, and we got this draw, and it was our first draw of the second season. So to me, things were looking up. And the parents come out. I've always told them, doesn't matter the score, you congratulate your child because I'll make it a personal mission. At the end, I always get the parents in with the players and I congratulate them. I individually
Okay.
praise them on something they've done in the game because I pay quite attention
Okay.
to. Doesn't matter whether he's shipping in 4 goals. Did player X dribble past that player? Did he have a really nice touch? And I think about that and I praise them on that because they need that little boost because it does affect players losing by a big margin. But then at the end of it, when your coach said, "Oh, that dribble was amazing. Can you do it again?" and you've got parents
Okay.
around you clapping for you, you're like, it doesn't matter whether they lost 17-0, they're thinking about what they're going to do next time.
There, when they go home.
Yeah, and then, but I also build that mentality, which I've been trying to do, is working hard. So after a massive loss, I look at my players and say, okay, we've lost by this margin. I'm not going to say what was wrong. You've done all phenomenal job today. I'm really proud of you all. Yeah, it's a loss we're going to improve on. And I had one player, and he became the captain of the team due to his ability to inspire the players around him. And he set a standard which other players are trying to reach now, which I love. That's why he's the captain. And I said once players do that, they'll be captain as well. And I don't mind having 7 captains. Do you know what I mean? But he went to me. He
Yeah,
said, "Can we have a hard training session next time?" At under 7, that's amazing. Absolutely phenomenal.
100%.
So what?
Having that drive to
So
want
then,
to develop,
a funny story that I would
especially.
mention about the mentality. We were losing 1-0, and
Okay.
at half time, as you do 4-10s, every coach they go, "Oh, what can you improve on?" They give their points. I was like, "We're not playing bad. We were playing really, really good football. I have nothing
Yeah.
bad to say. Never really do." And it's just praise. But just before I started talking, the captain I was telling you about interrupted me, and he said, "Can I talk?" Now, a lot of it's really funny actually
Play,
because I've
player
seen.
says, "Can I talk to me?" They're getting a water bottle to the head.
Do you know what I mean? A lot of coaches go, "Well, hold on, I'm the coach."
Yeah.
But then I looked at it
Yeah.
as
I was gonna. Yeah.
I gave him the captaincy armband. I want him to be a leader. this is
Mhm.
this is what I want in a player. So I said, talk as much as you want. Obviously, you got the time limit, so you got to. But he turned around and he said,
Okay.
I'm not happy with losing 1-0. So obviously, you got to listen intently because this is a very risky situation having a player do your team talk, especially at this young age, because it could
Yeah.
either demoralise the players or bring them up.
I
And
was gonna say there's some players that
yeah,
you wouldn't let talk. You don't know what's coming out of their mouth. It
so
could be
I
it
listened
could
to
be
him
a next inspirational speech. Go on.
and you would have loved it. He said, if you don't like, he was talking everything I wanted to say. He said, if you don't have the ball, go get the ball, tackle. Don't worry, don't give up. If you can't dribble past someone, pass to Aaron, our striker. He will score the goals. So he's now already given Aaron, the player, a boost, and he's looked at everyone
Yeah.
else and he's given them all a boost, and it was
So that's
phenomenal.
like player on player influence, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but that's as a coach, I've influenced that. Um,
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay.
because I've now give him the opportunity to do it. Whereas, let's just say
So
I
you've
didn't,
influenced the opportunity, and then it's for the player to go and take it upon himself.
yeah, let's say I didn't make him captain, he wouldn't do that team talk. He'll just be there listening. Now, can I do that to every player? That's the question. Can every player do that? Is the bigger question.
Ah, I don't think so.
Nah,
I think
I don't.
with all the factors that we discussed today,
Mm.
such as sort of too much confidence, not enough confidence, uh, setting players up for different situations. I don't think that involving every player as being a leader, inspiring the team is a good idea. However, if you do have a player like that, then I think what myself and Darren are trying to say is give them the license to go and express themselves to the team. A 7-year-old is more likely going to listen to another 7-year-old if they are not happy. If they're not happy with something, say in training, they're not scoring goals, they keep on missing. If you're coming over as a coach to try and motivate that kid, or if his other mate who's 7, he or she comes over, you'll get the next one, no problem. I think it's more impactful psychologically with the kids.
Yeah, I personally do, and the way I've gone around that, the influence is the captain. His older brothers come to the game sometimes. They play their game because they're in their academy. And they come to his,
Okay.
and I get them to. I call them my little assistants. I get them to stand next to me because it's bridging that gap of the ages. Is now I've got players that are in the academy. All the players know of the brothers that they play for the team
Okay.
and stuff, and they look up to them
Mhm.
because they're slightly older, but it's
Okay.
that they're in a achievable position. The players can look at them and go, I can get there in a couple of years. And I get them. I don't get them to do my
Yeah.
team talk. I just get them to cheer on. So they're looking. The captain's got his older brothers playing, so it's that bit of pressure. But his brothers are cheering him on, so it gives him that little boost. And all the players, and I've told them, you never shout at my players anything wrong. You give them praise. You support them, and it's that. I found that it really helped. Every time they shouted, the players looked and had a smile on their face. Yeah, I can do this,
Yeah.
and it worked phenomenal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
Really good, man.
Mm,
So, just to finish off today, obviously we looked at lots of different stuff, going from player mindsets to sort of coach behaviours, and how different things such as parents, development centres, coaches, players themselves can influence the kids psychologically to improve their performance or uh, bring their performance down. How would you sum up today's podcast in a minute or so? What
yeah,
would you give as to other coaches listening and to other parents, players listening? What sort of advice would you give on the psychological mindset within our community?
build a supportive environment and stop thinking about, oh, we need to win. Build an environment where you allow the kids to play like they would in the street on a pitch. I think that's the biggest element because kids have so much freedom outside when they play in schools. How can you replicate that environment and put it into your team so their development massively increases. And it's about
Okay.
having a one team mentality of your parents. You're not just a coach to the parents, the players. You're also a coach to the parents, having them on your side, relating your ideas. So it's if I take one step forward, the parents take one step forward with me. If I want to go in this direction, all the parents come in this direction with me. Because yes, you influence them on the pitch, but then once they leave you, it's now the parents' job to help them. And it's building that mentality of what you say on the pitch, I want them to do this. The parent goes home, I want you to do this too. It's having that support. It sounds really weird. It's like a marriage. Parenthood is I'm coaching your kid to do something. I need your support as well. We need to be in this together.
Excellent, man.
Yeah.
Perfect, man. Thanks a lot, Darren. So that was Darren Gilbert. What we'll do is we'll put his social media down below in the comments. This has been an AA podcast, so thank you very much for listening.
Thank you,
Go
David.
like, comment, subscribe. That's all right, mate. If you'd like to see Darren on this channel again, which I'm sure you would, make sure you go comment what other podcasts you want to hear. Coming up in the next couple of days, we've got Coach James from TFA as well, and we have Coach Tom coming back as well, and we've got loads of different coaches. If you'd like to come on, just give me a message. If there's something you're passionate about that you think other coaches would be passionate about, just give me a message and then you can get back on here. Darren, thank you very much for today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hopefully you enjoyed it, no problem, and we'll see you all later.